Tonight, a scorching summer. Environment Canada issues hundreds of heat warnings. Communities across the country face hot, humid conditions.
I think hot is an understatement. It's already close to unbearable.
While Florida issues hurricane warnings as Debbie nears the coast.
The most widespread threat is going to be the heavy rainfall.
There's no stopping summer. Another gold for Canada at the Games, while the women's soccer team makes an early exit.
When it comes to fashion, people in Paris, they're amazing.
As Olympic style takes hold of the fashion capital of the world. Decision time for Vice President Kamala Harris as she seeks a running mate. And why the former president pulled out of a scheduled debate. Plus, marking medical history in a Canadian operating room.
You're able to do all that surgery inside with a camera without making a large opening externally.
The robotic arms making a remarkable surgery possible.
Everything's just going to be wonderful now.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. The first weekend in August has many Canadians looking for ways to keep cool. Nearly 300 heat alerts have been issued for communities coast to coast. The temperatures resemble those in the southern states, where there's another concern. Tropical storm Debbie is now on track to hit Florida as a hurricane. CTV's Christina Tenalia on these weather warnings.
The revelers brought the vibe, and Mother Nature brought the heat.
It's the closest thing that I've found to Trinidad Carnival is Toronto Carnival.
It's close weather-wise, too, with the temperature in Trinidad's capital mirroring Toronto's for how warm it feels.
It is hot.
This visitor from Alabama came prepared to party.
They have hydration systems, and I love that.
Environment Canada has issued about 280 heat warnings across the country. There are no alerts in effect for Canada's largest city, but Toronto residents remain on alert to battle the elements.
Lots and lots of water, finding some shade.
In the nation's capital, a heat warning is in effect and expected to last until Sunday night.
I think hot is an understatement. It's pretty early and it's already close to unbearable.
For those who enjoy the heat, the Sunshine State is often the place to be, except this weekend.
It has now become a tropical storm and acquired the name Debbie.
Tropical Storm Debbie is forecast to transition into Hurricane Debbie,
making landfall somewhere in the Florida Big Bend area as a hurricane. This is important. There's an H on here.
A hurricane warning is in effect for portions of the Florida Panhandle. Stormy conditions are expected, too, along Florida's west coast, including the Tampa Bay area, where some communities are offering free sandbags.
I'm grateful for the city of Tampa, and I'm grateful for all these guys who are doing this for us.
Some areas could see between 1 to 2 meters of storm surge waters impacting their communities. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency for almost all cities and counties, preparing for what has the potential to intensify into a Category 1 hurricane by Monday morning. Heather.
All right, Christina, thanks. Evacuees from Jasper could get a tour of what remains of the mountain town as early as tomorrow. The bus tours will only happen if fire conditions in the area are safe enough. This will be the first opportunity for people to get a look at the devastation and destruction since fleeing the wildfires nearly 2 weeks ago. In Manitoba, 4 First Nations have now sent some of their most vulnerable members south as smoke from wildfires continue to pose health risks. There are currently 70 active fires in that province. Meanwhile, firefighters across southern BC are facing heat warnings, intense thunderstorms, and high winds as they battle major fires. And BC is still bracing for the worst if a dangerous dam caused by a landslide bursts. But officials are hopeful it will be a slow release of water.
We're more confident that the river will naturally overtop the dam and that the risk to public and communities downstream is likely lower than what we all feared just a few days ago.
The province says there is no guarantee it will happen this way. Flood preparation equipment and sandbags are being sent to some communities along the Fraser River. Some people have already left their homes, while evacuation planning is underway for other areas. BC issued an emergency alert late yesterday, warning people anywhere along the Chilcotin River to evacuate immediately. To the Paris Olympics now, and another massive medal haul in the water, starring Summer McIntosh. But some of the focus today was on a non-medal matchup. Canada's improbable comeback story of the women's soccer team was squashed. CTV's Kamal Karamali joins us. And Kamal, how did the red and white fare in their quarter-final game?
Heather, heartbreak for Canada. After overcoming almost insurmountable odds, they were eliminated by Germany today in penalty kicks. The team has been marred in controversy after a staff member was caught flying a drone to spy on another team. The fallout included suspensions and losing 6 points in the standings. Canada was able to climb out of that hole and into today's quarterfinals. But after a scoreless match that included extra time, Germany edged the Canadians in the shootout, ending their hopes to repeat as gold medalists. From the pitch to the pool, where Summer McIntosh made history, the teenage phenom notching her third gold medal of these games in the women's 200-meter medley final, with a time of just over 2 minutes and 6 seconds. That alone is an Olympic record, but she also becomes the first Canadian Olympic athlete to win 3 gold medals in one Olympic Games. Canada also secured its first double podium in Paris in the men's 100-meter butterfly. Josh Liendo nabbing a silver, finishing just shy of 50 seconds, and Ilya Karoun half a second behind, winning the bronze. It's the first time Canada has had a double podium in the Summer Games in nearly 50 years. While it was a silver Saturday for the Canadian women's 8 rowing team, the women were trying to defend their gold from Tokyo, but came up 4 seconds short to Romania.
I was in shock and awe that I got to be on the podium again and live this with my family.
In men's tennis action, Montreal's Felix Auger-Aliassime fell short of his second Olympic bronze in Paris with a loss to Italy's Lorenzo Musetti. A heartbreaker for defending men's decathlon champion Damian Warner. His hopes for repeating as a gold medalist were dashed when he knocked the bar down on 3 attempts in the pole vault, taking him out of medal contention.
He entered this event recording 4.6 meters in the pole vault. So for him to not clear the bar is just shocking.
Canada now has a total of 15 medals, including 4 gold in Paris. For tomorrow, we're keeping an eye on the men's 100-meter race and boxing for a couple of more chances at the podium. Heather.
Kamal, thanks for this. Across the channel, dozens have been arrested in the UK as another wave of violent protests rock the country. Tensions have been high since 3 young girls were killed in a stabbing attack at a Taylor Swift theme event Monday. Far-right activists have been accused of spreading disinformation online, most notably falsely claiming the attacker was an illegal immigrant. Crowds of anti-immigrant protesters gathered in Manchester, Belfast, Liverpool, and other cities across the UK. There are new details tonight about the killing of a Hamas leader in Tehran earlier this week and a renewed vow from Iran to seek revenge. The assassination has sparked fears of a wider conflict. The U.S. is set to boost its military presence in the region. CTV's Jeremy Sharon reports.
An overnight strike on a militant cell in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli army says it killed a Hamas commander and 4 Islamic Jihad militants. In Gaza, an Israeli airstrike on a school sheltering displaced people has killed at least 15 Palestinians and injured dozens more. While Iran today claimed a short-range projectile was used in the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran this week, blaming Israel for the attack and accusing the U.S. of supporting it, warning again today blood vengeance is certain.
We should expect, according to the threats and intimidations made by the Iranians and the proxies for the last couple of days, we definitely should expect a significant attempt to attack Israel with all the ramifications that come along with it.
Israel has neither confirmed or denied involvement in Haniyeh's assassination, the latest in a string of targeted killings that have taken out high-ranking officials from Iranian-backed militant groups. The threat of retaliation from Iran has left the region teetering on the edge, fearing an all-out war in the Middle East.
No one should underestimate the power of what Iran has, and if they actually came into the war, full tilt, this would be very, very difficult for Israel to manage.
In a sure sign Iran's threat is being taken seriously, the U.S. is sending a swath of military defense resources to the region. A carrier strike group, fighter squadron, and additional warships have been deployed.
The unprecedented scale of U.S. support for Israel since October 7th should leave Iran, Lebanese Hezbollah, and other Iranian-backed terrorist groups with no doubt about U.S. resolve.
Hezbollah hinted this week a coordinated attack on Israel could already be in the works. In April, Israel successfully stopped a barrage of missiles from Iran, but the fear is this anticipated Iranian attack could be much larger, more complex, and coordinated with its proxies in the region, which would be significantly harder to defend. Heather?
Jeremy Sharon in Ottawa. To U.S. politics and the high-stakes decision for Kamala Harris meeting with potential running mates this weekend as the former president tries to switch the stage for the next debate. CTV's Colton Prale is following the story, and Colton, he wants to change the date and the network to Fox News.
Donald Trump named the time, the place, even the audience, but neither his opponent nor the network have confirmed details of a second presidential debate. After saying he wouldn't debate Kamala Harris because she wasn't the official candidate, Trump taking to social media last night, just hours after Harris clinched the Democratic nomination, saying he agreed with Fox News to a debate on Wednesday, September 4th, in front of a live audience in Pennsylvania.
Donald Trump is basically pretending that this debate, or the terms he put out in his truth last night, are the actual terms of the debate.
Fox hasn't confirmed the news, but previously suggested a debate between the candidates in mid-September. Trump says he pulled out of the scheduled ABC News debate around the same time, citing his lawsuit against the network and the changing candidates. Harris says she's sticking to the agreed-upon ABC debate, even if Trump doesn't show up. The Democrats accusing the former president of running scared and looking to Fox News to bail him out.
What Trump is proposing is not a debate, it's a show. That's all he does. He does events, marketing events, and shows.
While the two sides bicker over details of a debate, Harris still has to pick a running mate. It's down to a handful of finalists, including former astronaut Mark Kelly and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. A decision is expected before a Tuesday rally in Philadelphia. The first presidential debate killed the candidacy of Joe Biden. The second could see a similarly seismic shakeup in the political landscape, but only if the two sides can agree on a time and a place. Heather.
And we'll await that decision. Colton, thanks. Venezuela's opposition leader joined thousands calling for the country's presidential election results to be overturned. President Nicolas Maduro was declared the winner of last Sunday's election. The opposition claims its candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, actually won by a landslide. Venezuela's high court has ordered the National Electoral Council, which the president controls, to hand over the vote count sheets by Monday. At least 32 people are dead after a suicide bombing at a popular beach in Somalia. More than 60 were also wounded in the attack. Al-Shabaab, an al-Qaeda-linked armed group, has taken responsibility. The assault started with an explosion at the entrance of a beach hotel. Several other attackers tried to storm the building and fired at people on the beach. Officials say at least 5 people were involved. The bomber and 3 others were killed, while 1 person was captured alive. Coming up, not guilty on conspiring to kill Mounties.
The jury put in a lot of hard work and came to the right result.
The jury's decision in the case against protesters at the Coots border blockade. Plus, sports and style in the fashion capital. Two men accused of conspiring to kill RCMP officers at the Coutts-Alberta border blockade were found not guilty this week. It was one of several blockades across the country protesting COVID rules and vaccine mandates. The jury did find the men guilty of other charges. Tyler Barrow takes a look at the trial.
The high-profile case dates back to the 2022 Coutts border crossing blockade over COVID-19 health restrictions. Anthony Olenek and Chris Carbert have been acquitted of conspiracy to murder Mounties. There was a loud gasp in a packed Lethbridge courtroom.
The jury put in a lot of hard work and came to the right result on the conspiracy to commit murder charge.
I've never believed since taking this file on that there was evidence that would support a finding of guilt in that.
Jurors asked for more time Friday night after 3 days of deliberating and 7 weeks of testimony. The two men were arrested after police seized a stockpile of guns, ammo, and body armor in February of 2022. Jurors were challenged by the tense and emotional public debate over pandemic rules and freedoms. The trial heard statements from both men saying the blockade was a last stand against a tyrannical federal government. Both were guilty of mischief and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. Olenek was found guilty of possessing a pipe bomb.
We don't think that the weapons charge, the firearms charge, makes a lot of sense when the first charge is not guilty, but we'll take a look at that.
While Carbert's counsel understands the decision.
We invited the jury to find him guilty on the mischief because of the very active role that he took in the blockade.
This justice studies professor says conspiracy-related charges can be very hard to prove.
Where's the evidence of the plan outside of saying, I'm going to kill a police officer? There's got to be more than that. There's got to be a scenario where it could logically be laid out.
Former Fort Macleod councillor Marco Van Hugenbos, who was previously found guilty of mischief for his participation in the Coutts protest, welcomed the outcome.
A sigh of relief, right? It was what we were hoping for across the board in relation to that specific charge.
This case returns to court August 12th for sentencing. The men have been in custody since their arrest. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, robots assisting in surgery. A first of its kind in Canada. The high-tech help during a living donor kidney transplant. There are promising new signs in the advanced role of robots in the operating room. An Alberta surgeon performed Canada's first robotic-assisted living donor transplant. CTV's Rachel Crowe spreading wings on the medical milestone.
These are the robotic arms making a remarkable surgery possible. After surviving COVID 2 years ago, Carmen Newchek still wasn't fully recovered. She went to the hospital with chest and leg pains, discovering she was in full kidney failure.
If I didn't come in on that Monday, on June 20th, that I wouldn't be here the Wednesday. So we caught it just in time.
She was suffering from a genetic condition, thrombotic microangiopathy, or TMA.
That's basically a form of anemia that attacks the blood cells and causes kidney damage.
A life-saving donor would have to be found, not only matching with her blood type, but also the tissues and cells. Turns out she already knew her perfect match, her husband.
Long shot.
Yeah.
Came through, and it was nice just to be able to do this for each other and not have to involve anyone bringing someone else making a sacrifice.
Carmen says Dr. Max Levine reached out to her offering a robotic surgery that's used in other operations, but hadn't been tried before in a kidney transplant. He says it offers faster recoveries, smaller incisions, and a lower risk of complications with the wound.
With robotic-assisted surgery, you're able to do all that surgery inside with a camera without making a large opening externally to get all your instruments in.
Typically, an incision for a transplant could be between 15 and 30 centimeters long, while the robotic surgery takes about 5 2.5 centimeter cuts.
You know, there's days that I feel like I haven't had surgery other than the side effects from the anti-rejection medications.
Newchek says it's been 6 weeks since her surgery and it's worth it.
thanks to my husband, I have a healthy kidney.
Dr. Levine says she's recovering faster than expected, adding he's looking to do more procedures to show the promise of this new technology. Rachel Crowe, Spreading Wings, CTV News, Edmonton.
A new sculpture in Los Angeles is honoring the special bond shared between the late Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. Widow Vanessa Bryant and the Lakers franchise unveiled the bronze statue titled Girl Dad, recognizing his unwavering pride of having 4 daughters. The sculpture depicts the late Lakers legend embracing his daughter, wearing a WNBA hoodie he wore to a game with Gigi, along with a hat she gifted him. After the break, mixing sports with style.
How you feel good in your clothes. We have some really fashion people. You dress how you want to dress.
Fashion front and center at the Paris Games. Sure, they call Paris the city of light, but the fashion capital is also dressing up for the Olympics. Parisians have long been admired for making waves with their wardrobe, and even with the city sporting an Olympic look, it seems style is still winning. CTV's Geneviève Boschman explains.
Olympic style has seized the fashion capital of the world. On the chic streets of Paris, flashes of the colors of all countries have found their stride.
I'm often here on business and I don't wear a bucket hat when I'm here usually.
Parisians certainly do not, yet many are sporting the French flag and gear. And the athletes? Well, they're setting trends. U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson's nails and Canada's beach volleyball looks are a hit. As always, the must-have accessory, though, is a gold medal that never goes out of style. Heritage French fashion house LVMH, behind highbrow luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, reportedly spent nearly $200 million in sponsorship to mix high fashion and sport. It seems that's a look some very stylish Parisians embrace.
Parisian style is like how you feel good in your clothes. We have some really fashion people. You dress how you want to dress.
La mode was always going to be center stage here. After all, this is Paris.
In the U.S., people wear sweatpants and, regular joggers, but here everyone has different fashion sense.
That's well known among fashion-forward Olympic tourists who take a detour down this small Paris street. Recognize it?
Maybe I'm someone who's ready for new experiences. Emily!
This is one of the backdrops to the hit series Emily in Paris, in which fashion takes a starring role. No wonder, say fans, it's set right here.
People in Paris, they're amazing. Like when it comes to fashion.
The City of Love long ago earned this fashion-forward reputation. This is a depiction of style from July 1864. The fan is still in style today, a fan favorite. A hot Olympic items in Paris these days thanks to a heat wave that crashed into the Games.
And many are planning to pack up some of that fashion sense and bring it back home in their suitcases. Heather.
A perfect souvenir, Jen. Thanks. And that is our newscast for this Saturday night. I'm Heather Butts. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.